Okay, great. Good evening. My name is Maria Calzada, and I am the PTO president for 22-23. Welcome to everyone and anyone who has not been to a PTO meeting. We've only had one meeting before tonight, and that was in person, but it was recorded. So hopefully everyone's had a chance to either see that or see our open house presentation, or possibly to have gone to the donuts and coffee prior to that. Welcome. We're going to keep letting people in, or I think maybe turn off the waiting room function because we're not really vetting people at this point. So first off, we'll call the meeting to order. As we've all gotten used to Zoom meetings, there have been some questions as to why we're doing Zoom now that COVID protocols have kind of fallen by the wayside. At the end of last year, we did move to start doing in-person meetings or hybrid meetings. And what we found was that either because people have gotten used to Zoom meetings, or because our school is unique in that we are 100% magnet. We are not in any way a neighborhood school, meaning no one is zoned to Carnegie. We found that we had very low attendance in person. As a board and with administration, we discussed what was the best approach. And so what we've decided to try this year, and we may find that it doesn't work and we'll make more changes, is that we had our first meeting in person so that everyone can kind of see one another, and new parents can see the school, get a chance to buy some of the spirit items and take them home that day. And the rest of the meetings for the semester would be via Zoom. Then next semester, we're going to have one in-person meeting, but the rest of the meetings are also going to be via Zoom. And so hopefully this will be a good mixture of the two and allow for the most participation. We're going to try to do things so that they're most inclusive. On the other hand, what we're going to also try to do is concentrate on having more in-person other events. So we do have some social events planned. So those are going to be coming up, and we've had some other opportunities that people can take advantage of. So our special events VP, hopefully, I can't see everybody who's participating, we'll be discussing that. So that's the reasoning for the Zoom. But we're open to all kinds of opinions and whatever's going to include the most parents. So tonight we've got a few things on the agenda. Hopefully everyone had a chance to look at it beforehand. If not, it's on the website, and I believe that it should be on the screen. I may not be able to see what everyone else is seeing. If not, we'll pull it up. If you're wondering what's scrolling behind me, this is our Friends and Family campaign. This is one of the main ways that we raise money for the PTO, which goes right back to the students, right back to the teachers and faculty, right back to the school. And so one of the ways that we try to incentivize folks to donate is we have a tiered system like most of the other schools that our students come from. So part of the reward system, if you donate, is that we put you on our tiered sponsorship list, and we post it on the website, we post it in the newsletter, various other places. And it occurred to me that we could also do this. So it's going to be scrolling behind me. So if you donate between now and the next meeting, I'll put it behind my head. Maybe some of our other officers will do it too. So I think Aparna, our secretary, is going to start with approving the minutes from our last meeting.
Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday. The general meeting minutes from September were posted online last week, and just a summary of what we go through. So in case you missed the meeting, that you can see it. I don't know, are there any questions about them? Mary so graciously is just sharing her screen. If there aren't any questions, I guess I would go ahead and take a motion to approve the minutes. If you want to unmute yourself or just say your name.
Manisha, right?
Thank you, Manisha. So motion is second. Could I have a second?
I second. This is Marlo.
Oh, thank you, Marlo. There's a vote on just if you agree to approve these minutes. So you could go ahead and do that, please. And I will go ahead and say for whichever parents of juniors and sophomores that maybe got too many emails from me yesterday, I apologize for that, but I am glad you made it to the PTO meeting today. And I apologize, but I think everyone knows at this point that unfortunately with the weather and other events in Houston, we're gonna have to cancel that event tomorrow, but I'll let everyone else talk about that. But apologies for the multiple emails. That's basically my thing. Do we have, I see a hand raised. Is that a question or just a motion to approve?
It's a motion to approve, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and then we will tally that up. Mary, do we need to wait for that? Or, oh, we got 100% of the vote agreeing to approve the minutes. So thank you. I will go back to taking minutes for this meeting and appreciate your attending. I think the next thing on the agenda is Marlo.
Yes, hi. We are proposing to amend our, as you can see on the screen, to help our treasurer out. And what the wording says on our bylaws currently is shown here. The executive board shall oversee the administration of the budget and disbursement of funds by the treasurer. The treasurer is authorized to pay all amounts incurred or payable up to the amount approved for that category of expenditure in the budget, and any expenses exceeding the budgeted amount for a given category by $250 or 10%, whichever is less, without prior executive board approval. The treasurer must have the approval of the executive board to make all other disbursements of funds. We have discussed this and thought that that was just a lot of responsibility on the treasurer. So we have the proposed amendment, which is on the right side of the screen, and that is the executive board shall oversee the administration of the budget and disbursement of funds by the treasurer. Any funding request that falls within the guidelines of the proposed budget presented by the executive board for consideration and adoption by the general membership and was approved by said membership, but that does not meet any of the criteria in Article 2, Section 6D, Paragraph 2B, I-III below, may be approved by the treasurer without a vote and reported to the executive board at or by the next executive board meeting. Any funding request that falls within the guidelines of the proposed budget presented by the executive board for consideration and adoption by the general membership and was approved by said membership will require an executive board vote if any one of the following three criteria are met. if the amount requested equals or exceeds 10% of the total budget for that category, or if the amount requested equals or exceeds $1,500 regardless of category, or if the requesting person or group has already successfully made and been granted a financial request from PTO that fiscal year in any amount. The treasurer must have the approval of the executive board to make all other disbursements of funds that do not meet criteria Article 2, Section 6D, paragraph 2A or 2B. So I move that we approve the proposed amendment to our bylaws.
I second.
Okay, we will have a vote on that. And if you have any questions on what that is, the bylaws are on Vanguardian, the vanguardian.org, and you can also write in the chat and we'll try and answer those questions. We'll give someone just a few more minutes to fill out the motion. Vote.
I think I can't see the results. Can everybody see the screen to vote?
Came up
Yes.
already. Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, it.
Yeah, I think the hosts, co-hosts, we're not able to
See the vote?
participate.
Oh, okay.
Well, I can see the votes.
Okay.
We just can't vote.
Okay, as of right now, it's 93% yes, 4% no, and 4% abstaining.
Marlo, let me know when to.
Yeah, I think we're good compared to the number of people on the meeting. It looks like it's approved. All right, we can continue with the rest of the meeting.
Thank you. And I just want to, I know that was a little dry, but it is a lot more transparency for the general membership. We're dealing with a lot more money on this year's budget. So it's actually a little more work for the board, but it does give us a little bit more peace of mind that the amount of money that we're dealing with has more transparency, which we like. So thank you.
More eyes on it.
Yeah. Okay, speaking of money and transparency, Mala, our treasurer, is going to give her report.
Hey everyone, this is Mala. I'm the treasurer for PTO. Everybody can hear me? Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you so much for passing that motion, that amendment. Actually, being a treasurer last year, everybody was like, why you bring everything to vote? Because I just felt that, I shouldn't be the one making a big decision on the money. So, and now putting this in document actually helps me a lot. I'm sure in the future treasurers will appreciate it as well. It's just shouldn't be a one person deciding. So thank you so much to this year's board for taking that into consideration and making that amendment. Really appreciate it. So coming to now our meeting, I do want to present our financial statement this year until now. So if Mary, yes, you can click on that, Mary. Okay. So this is a statement of activity, and it is up till October 18th from July 1st to October 18th. I made it for the last week's meeting, but it got canceled, so I didn't add it another week to it. So as per our October, from July 1st to October 18th, we have a revenue. Again, as Maria mentioned, our revenue source as of now is friends and family. That is our major source until we do any fundraising special events during the year. But until then, that's the only source of revenue we have, the major one, I should say. And then we do get some money from selling swag, and we also get some stored money from Randall's and Kroger's cashback. And speaking of that, if any of you guys ever shop from Amazon, Randall and Kroger, please do put our Cvhs PTO as a charity member so that we get that cashback from all those places. And that's pretty much our revenue. And then speaking of our expenses, it's all the teachers sending their stipend request, which is $350 per teacher. So that's where our expenses are going. And then pretty much subscriptions, the softwares, some website subscriptions, all those expenses. It's very early on this year. So that's pretty much summarizes our expenses and revenue so far. And everything is posted on the website. Please look at it. If anybody interested and you have any questions, do let me know. My email is treasurer@cvhspto.org, and I'll be definitely sending you answer based on your question. And I do want to request everybody on this meeting, if you have a corporate matching program in your company, and please reach out to me for any specific paperwork. I love doing paperwork. That's what I do. So, and I'm not afraid of it. So if anybody's know any kind of program in their companies for corporate matching donations, do reach out to me, and we can get that ball rolling. So, and that's pretty much it from my end. I just want to mention the revenue, just one last thing, the revenue just shown on our statement of activity is not same as right now. Our friends and family campaign is at about 22%. We raised 22,000. As I said, it was based off last week's up till Monday, and then we got big checks coming last week, which I put it in the bank. So that is not showing here. But if you go to our website, we have a thermometer there, and it's showing 22%. And thank you so much to our generous Cvhs family for all their donations and kindness and support. Thank you. Over to Maria.
So Danielle Batchelor, speaking of fundraising, it's almost like it is almost like we planned it. Okay, so Danielle, our fundraising and development vice president, is going to speak next.
Okay, so while Mala was speaking, I attached in the chat 4 different documents that any of you are welcome and hopefully will be inclined to use if you know of anyone who might be interested in donating for a corporate sponsorship, friends and family. Those are on there. There's a fundraising letter that's just sort of invites people to donate and explains our story. And then there's a flyer attached that I think a lot of you probably saw on the emails that Aparna sent out. And it's gone out a few times in the last few days that are just sort of like the greatest hits of some of the awesome things about our students and faculty at Carnegie to sort of help hopefully generate some buzz and rationale for people who want to support the students and the PTO. So please, if you know of a business on your block, you own a business, speak up. I'm happy to contact them or someone on our fundraising committee. If you'd like to join the fundraising committee, please come along. We're also looking at things like how to spend the money for facilities improvements and meeting the needs of different teachers and things like that. So there's all kinds of work to be done, and we very much would appreciate the time or treasure. on all fronts. We'll have a parent event coming up soon, and that's one of the things that we use some of the monies. Most of the monies go for things for the students and teachers, but we want to have some community building events as well. So Maria, am I leaving anything out? Does anyone have any questions?
I was just going to point out that on the slide, on the agenda, on the slideshow, the QR codes are available. So if you're looking at the Zoom on your desktop or on a laptop, you can take out your smartphone and use your camera to look at that. And then that should open up exactly where you need to go. We can't see you, so we won't know that you're not looking at us talking. So you can go ahead and do that if you want to go ahead and make a donation or sign up to be a volunteer during the meeting. Go right ahead. Or if you are afraid you're going to forget and do it, not do it later. So that's what those QR codes are for, and they should be there throughout the meeting.
I just want to add before we move to next person, there's one thing I get that question a lot in my email. So I just want to address it to everybody who's listening on this PTO meeting. Yes, there is a way for anybody donating to send a check to the school. You don't really have to pay online through PayPal. Yes, there is a processing fee for the PayPal, and that can be avoided by sending a check to the school. It can be mailed to addressing to Cvhs PTO, or it can be dropped off with your student. They can walk up to the front desk and they can say that this is for PTO, and they will safely, securely put it in that box for me, and they let me know that there's a check for you. So yes, checks are definitely welcome as a mean of donation instead of PayPal if anybody wants to avoid that fees. Thank you.
And we'll provide the tax receipt and everything like that. I know I've gotten a few emails, and I think Mala probably has as well, that
Yes.
How does that work? We have.
Yes, I'm on it. I know we are a little bit late. It's just being an Indian and being a Diwali celebrations going on. Yes, I'm a little bit behind, but I promise I'll catch up very soon. Sorry if anybody's waiting on the tax receipt.
She's taking her party animal hat off and putting her treasure.
Yes, definitely. Next week, I'm all up and I'm going to caught up to every email and every donation. Yes. Thank you so much for your patience.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, we use the monies for senior awards and teacher appreciation and textbooks when there's a teacher that really believes in or wants an extra interesting textbook that the district isn't, already paying for or something. So I'm biased, but I don't think there's a better use of your extra funds if you have any to give.
And Daniel, you want to just thank you the community for the drive, the supply drive as well?
Oh yes, I didn't know if Gary or someone was. I don't want to jump the gun on anyone else who may be talking about that, but yes, so many parents gave to the supply drive, and I mean, was it the biggest of any drive we've had thus far? I think it was.
Yes, that is. It was very generous. Yes.
Yes. So, and the time also of the volunteers to process it all and get the things and go hand it out to teachers, and a big thanks goes out to everyone involved in that. That's a special part of our PTO.
Okay, so I think the next slide is communications. Thank you. So Mary is our communications VP and IT expert.
Hey, thank you, Maria. So my main role is to mainly create noise pollution to your inbox or Facebook feed or anywhere. So that is my main role. So I know you may be getting too much annoyed, but our main goal is to get the communication out to you all via any channel we could possibly do. So via email, via Facebook, and I've been sending out to WhatsApp groups as well. Because we may be missing out on information through our kids. So that is our goal, to get to the parents. And as you all know, I will give a quick walkthrough to our website. So that is my second role, to maintain this website for our PTO. So we have this vanguardian.org, that is our main website, one stop for all the information. So in the middle, you can see all the updates that is happening, right? I mean, we continuously try to update all the information, all the posts, like what is going to happen, whatever has happened. And on the right side, you can see how we are doing with our friends and family campaign and our recognition to all our amazing donors. And on the left side, you have all these quick links to access the important information. So the main one is, I'm assuming that everybody has joined this joint PTO, that is membership, that is very important. We use this information to send out email communication, and for signing up for volunteering, everything goes through this membership toolkit. So if you haven't already, please do that. And donate. So that is where we get all the monies. So that is also an important link. You have to bookmark maybe. Then store, that is where our Jackie has the spirit gears. She will be talking about it. And newsletter, something we are working on. And calendar is where you will get all the upcoming events. So if you scroll down a bit, you can see all the upcoming events that we have planned for the students as well as the parents. So keep checking this website, and I will also be sending through Facebook. If you're not part of the community, please do join the community and ask questions. We'll be happy to answer the questions that you will have. Okay, back to you, Maria.
Okay. Also, if you are interested in helping out, if you enjoy making graphics, we have a professional Canva account. We have lots of reasons why we need to make things all the time. If that is your passion, please come help. If you enjoy doing social media, making newsletters, working on websites, if you've got time but you only have time at 2 a.m. and you're an insomniac and you want to come help, if you want to help, get with us, get with our volunteer VP, which I believe is our next speaker, Gari. Now, Gari is battling the flu, so I don't know if her voice is actually functional. So I think I may be speaking. I think I may be Gari actually. Yeah, I think I may be Gari. Okay, so I'll just keep talking then. So Gari has done yeoman's work on getting together all of the committees, doing just a clearinghouse of all of the volunteer pages, and putting everything on Membership Toolkit. A lot of you are probably familiar with Membership Toolkit from your middle schools. So whenever you go to the site that is connected to that QR code, or if you already did earlier through our website, you may already have an account. Many of you probably do from your middle school. It'll just get you updated. You'll update your students' information, update your information, make sure that it's all accurate, that it's the right phone number, it's the right address, wherever you want to be contacted. Then you can sign up to volunteer. It doesn't have to be a firm commitment. Don't feel like you're signing your life away, but if you're open to being contacted for future events, just put your name down. If you know that you want to do something very specific, if there's something that's kind of like your passion, if you, for example, feel like I do, that this is the greatest high school that could possibly have been made, and you want to be on magnet tours, for example, and you want to tell other parents, hey, you know, I remember my kid whenever I was trying to decide on a high school and I wish I would have known X, I want to be on magnet tours. Well, guess what? We need parents for magnet tours. So you can sign up for that specific thing and not sign up for anything else. So check that out. That's a really important aspect of what Gari does, is she tries to match people to something that they're going to really enjoy. because when you enjoy your volunteer work, it shows. The other thing that Gari's been working on is alumni, the Alumni Association, and college prep. So all of our students, I mean, we have like 100% college placement. So we're working on a college series. So if you're interested in those two topics, making sure that we have a very strong alumni association for our students so that they have networking, so that they have pride in the school 20 years from now, 40 years from now, and so that they have excellent preparation for college applications and placement, because I know I just went through that with my son, and I'm going to do it again in 4 years. If those two topics are of interest to you, look at those, because those are two things that Gari is working on and developing very quickly. So I know we're running out of time, but I hope that I spoke to everything that Gari wanted to speak to. Our volunteers, we can't say enough. I mean, we have a lot of volunteers, a lot of people who sign up and do onesie, twosie things, but these folks on this list have been amazing. I do a lot of just talking and texting and emailing people. Also fussing, I fuss at home and I fuss online. But these people actually put boots on the ground. So thank you. Sorry, I'm admitting people. We can't, the scrolling thing, I'm trying to figure out how we can have a double scroll, one for people who donate money, but people who donate time. So thank you to all the volunteers who not only commit to doing one event, but who commit to leadership. So, and thank you to the board, who are amazing and have been like constant companions, morning, noon, and night. Stacy, special events chair. She may be crying because we had to cancel our event tomorrow. Stacy, are you here?
Hi, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Sorry, I'm still on daytime because been running around all day today trying to finalize a lot of the details that had to be made because of the weather and of course the game going on. But I hope the kids will be able to enjoy the weekend, and also once we have the dates reconfirmed, we will definitely get on that and make sure the event happens for the kids, because I know these events are really important to them. It gives them an opportunity to, you know, socialize and be together outside of the school itself. So we've got a lot of things planned just in the fall we've been working on. So one of the next upcoming event is also the parent social. So I know parents need to get away as well. So, you know, to be able to gripe a little bit, I think we all have to have that experience, and it does create a lot of bond. And this event will be just a very lighthearted event where we're just going to sit and have some fun, play some games, and hopefully, you know, be able to share some of our stories together. We also have the Houston Texans have partnered with us, and I know a lot of people have been really excited about these opportunities. So I hope you guys remember to go on to the link and purchase the tickets, because a lot of their relationships is predicated on involvement. So the more you know, response they hear from us, then the more that they are going to extend in offerings. And so we are also working with the Astros and with the Rockets to hopefully be able to get these type of relationships going as well for them for this these fun events coming up. Our team also is working on Spirit Nights. I don't know if you guys, you're probably familiar with Spirit Nights. So they're basically restaurants that get together and partner with the school, and parents and children and families can go and eat. And if you give them your the name of the school that you're coming from, a percentage of the funds that are used that night does go directly to the school. So we want to be able to kind of set up at least one fun spirit night a month, and I think we've got 3 already that have committed. So we've got Chick-fil-A, Cvhs, and Mia's Table. And so those are 3 fun spirit night events that you guys can all come and enjoy and have a great dinner together and still be able to support the school. So the dates are coming up, so look out for those upcoming events. And you know, hopefully I will see you guys soon, because we've got stuff coming up for the spring as well. I will probably end at that, but again, I will reiterate the volunteer and sponsorship portion of the PTO, because we kind of all work in conjunction together to try to build a successful year for the students and the school. So if you guys are interested in, you know, doing any involvement, we have a lot of things going on in special events as well. So the spring auction gala is still needing some auction team members and some organizational volunteers. Those are all available and open on our website. So if you guys want to check that out, and if you have any questions, I'll be more than glad to have a chat and sit and kind of go over the details of some of those positions with you. If no questions, I think I will probably end my spiel there. Back to you, Maria.
Okay, great. And Jackie is our committee chair for a few things actually, but right now she's going to talk about the Spirit Store.
Yes. So I just wanted to let you all know that our winter swag is here. It's in store, and we sell on Wednesdays. Your students can come by, try it on, to see the different things that we have, or you can order online, and we also deliver if they don't come and pick it up on Wednesday. To the front, if you can, please just make sure that the student's name is clearly on the order or in the notes, or a school ID. That would be great. That just helps the front and our volunteers be able to pass it out much quicker. But yes, thank you all for your support. And there's a QR code, and I am putting our website on there so you can order and get that winter swag before it's all gone. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. And last but not least, I hold him hostage because I know you guys won't stay in our meeting unless you get to hear from Principal Moss. So he has to go last. Principal Moss, thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I first want to start off with saying thanks to the PTO because we had a great luncheon today for our employees. And so we're always very appreciative of the PTO and their efforts, and our bellies certainly thank you so much. It's kind of hard to believe that we've been in school now. We've been in session for 2 months. And things are moving quite along quite well. And one thing I do want to mention is that this year, HISD reacted to a lot of employees throughout the district in regards to ending the fall semester before winter break. So in some instances, that caused our 6-week grading cycles to seem very, very short. And actually for grading cycle 2, I'm not quite sure that it is a 6-week grading cycle. It's really more like 5. And if you recall, 1 day was dedicated to testing the PSAT and SAT. And then we also, or students had 2 days off for the fall break, and then a teacher service day. So with that being said, November 4th, believe it or not, is the end of cycle 2. So that means the end of cycle 2 is a week from tomorrow. So please keep that in mind. And the next report card day will be a week from that on November the 11th. I want to thank also everyone who worked on the movie night that was scheduled for tomorrow. And rest assured, we will come up with a rescheduled date for that, as we did for tonight's meeting. So stay tuned for that. Otherwise, unless there are any other questions, the rest of what I will present will be a part of our safety or health and safety component of tonight's meeting.
Okay, so thank you, Principal Moss. So I just wanted to, unless there are any questions, I don't see anything popping up in the chat. So move to adjourn our business. Second?
I second, Jackie.
Second. All right. So everyone can just raise their hand or reaction. We're going to recognize hand gestures here for closing the meeting. And I'm trying to open up this thing. Okay. I think the ayes have it. No, I should scroll more often. We have beautiful, beautiful parents. Okay. All right. Meeting adjourned. Now the program. Okay, so the program came about because, first of all, just the news, safety and security is top of mind. It's always top of mind for parents, obviously, but it's more top of mind. It's topical, but also because whenever we met with parents, fish camp, donuts and coffee, open house, the last meeting, I don't think there was one interaction that I had, at least with parents, where the topic of safety, school shootings, you hate to even say it out loud, where that didn't come up. What are we going to do? What's the school doing? What's the plan? You know, this prevailing fear, because we're all scared. And then the thing at Heights happened. If you don't know, they had a scare, and thank God that it wasn't actually anything. But most of us either know of someone who has a child at Heights. Many of you may, not many of you, some of you actually have children at Heights. So that even brought it more to the forefront. So we had a conversation about, okay, why don't we make it an actual topic of a program? Not only that, but also we live in Houston. We're in hurricane season. What do we do whenever weather becomes an issue? How do we respond reasonably as parents? How do we not make the situation worse for administration? Because all our kids have phones. All our kids are able to, you know, and we often, children escalate situations by messaging each other. And then they message us, and then they screenshot. So all of these things kind of are what led to this. So we're doing a two-part series. This is the first part where we get information, we get data from Principal Moss and from Officer Mapp about what the school is doing. And we're able to ask some questions, and we're starting off with some bullet points based on, you know, what has already been asked. And then we've got a presentation that is in person planned for parents from HPD and a district council person, Kameen, whenever, probably at the parent social, which it's not supposed to be a downer, but it's just the next in-person parent social, next in-person parent activity, where they will be able to pass out gun locks. So for anyone who has a gun in their home, 3 gun locks. So that's kind of our two-part plan. So without further ado, Principal Moss.
All right. So once again, thanks everybody for being here. I can't talk about safety without first talking about health. So the health portion, I just want to very quickly give thanks to us having a full-time nurse and that is our very own Rhino, Kara Wynn, who decided to return to her alma mater and provide a tremendous service in our clinic. So thank you, Nurse Wynn. Just some things that I've heard going on in the district. I want to point out some things particular to Carnegie. We do have filtered water refilling stations throughout the campus, basically on every academic wing, as well as in the gym or the multi-purpose room. And I believe that came about as part of a grant that one of our teachers, Jamie Ford, was able to acquire for us. So thank you, Coach Scott. We continue to have PPE or personal protective equipment, such as masks, hand sanitizers, disinfectant wipes in classrooms, so on and so forth. I believe the Harris County's level of COVID positivity rate is less than 7%, which is great. Hopefully that continues to decline. I continue to wear my mask as well as many other students. Just recently I learned that HISD is once again partnering with the Houston Health Department and Fulgent Genetics to provide free PCR COVID-19 testing. And we certainly welcome that at Carnegie. The testing is voluntary and all Carnegie staff and students are eligible to participate. Students will need consent from parents or guardians in order to be tested. And that testing will occur bi-weekly or every other week. And so we don't know the begin date, but I assume it's going to be very soon. So stay tuned for more information about that. Now, in regards to the bigger part of the presentation, in regards to safety, I am thrilled, and thrilled is an understatement, to have our new campus officer on campus. His name is Officer Jimmy Mapp. I know he's on a call, or at least I suspect that he still is. So I want to yield to him first, and then I'll kind of get into more specifics. But I do know that we have had a campus security assessment performed by two people. One is him, and the other one is an external advisor. So without further ado, I want to turn things over to Officer Jimmy Mapp.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. My apologies because I never used Zoom before, and I'm always have used the Teams, and I'm trying to put on the video camera so everyone can see me.
We can see you.
Okay, you can see me. Oh, thank you. And I'm so happy to be here at Carnegie, and I really appreciate everyone that support me to being here at your school. One of the things that the district is now moving towards, it's not doing anymore, but they're moving towards this no more this what we call code red. That verbal is obsolete now. We won't be doing it anymore. We are now putting something in place in this web page called I Love You Guys Foundation, which our district is moving towards for as how to evacuate, shelter, also fire evacuation, along with lockdown and secure, which now we are, the district are now using those terms for our, excuse me, for our fire drill, any drill that we're using. I'm sorry, I'm trying to turn this thing off so I can see you. This thing is not working. Okay, so I'm back on. Okay, thank you. And the other thing that we are doing also now is a audit on our door sweep. And actually every morning I do a sweep on our doors to make sure they're all secure and make sure that, none of the doors have any problem of shutting after the kids enter the building. And that is done also through our risk management department with HISD. They also monitor that throughout all the school district with HISD. And that is something that we want to focus on a lot because, of course, we know what happened during that time. Some teacher supposedly got accused, but understandably, that really didn't occur that way. And the other thing we're also working on with these new drills, we have, I believe, every month, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Moss, for the drills, so the kids can have more understanding and more practice of those drills. If we come with a, like I was asking before, what do you do for a shelter? Your kids will be more informed of how to react on situation like that on campus. And the biggest thing I like also with Carnegie, that I want to thank you parents for allowing your kids to have cell phones, because that is a big plus, because we want to make sure that our kids can get in touch with you if a situation happened on campus. I'm looking to move to January 6th, which is our professional develop day. I purchased a amount of tourniquets for our staff members and some of the workers with Carnegie to have couple of our officers from our department who actually have the experience in how to do a tourniquet, and something that I want a lot of our teachers to have an understanding of how to utilize that if there's a situation, that we might need to use those tourniquets, and at least our teachers and our staff know how to utilize that if something were to happen to one of us or one of our kids. So I'm happy to do that, because I really like the school and I really want our school to be safe. Now that I heard you mention some about that's Heights. Of course, during that time, I was at a police conference in San Diego, and I did hear a little bit about what was going on. And one of the things about when a situation happened like that, of course, all parents gonna get contact, but it's a situation that now our department had moved towards of getting our officer more training for a situation like that. Not only just our department, HPD, Precinct 4, Harris County Sheriff. You will see a lot of agency coming to that campus. Whenever a disaster happens, something like what happened in Uvalde, we're training our officer. We're getting trained by our department to be able to act in a way where we can assist in a situation like that. That's pretty much it to share with you about trying to make sure that our campus is really secure.
So Officer Matt, or Principal Moss, so I think one of the things that as a parent, but I wonder, because you don't want to make a situation worse, but you also don't know if the information you're getting, because sometimes your kid will send you a message like, for example, I'm trying to remember what exactly was happening, but you'll get a picture of this kind of people gathering outside, and like, oh, I heard we're in lockdown, you know, something ominous like that. And it's like, okay, so the kids talk to one another, you know, and oh, I think it was a picture and there were police and or fire outside. So I get a picture of, you know, from my child, a window looking out, police and fire people outside, and I think we're in lockdown. So immediately I'm like, okay, what does that mean? So when and then they start texting each other, okay? So, and then obviously it cycles up from that. So when we start to get stuff like that, you don't want to make things worse by passing along, but of course that's what we immediately do because we're all on groups with one another. And now, you know, whole classes are on WhatsApp groups together. So my first question is, how can we get accurate information from the school when I know that your hands are tied as administrators, Principal Moss? You're not allowed to just put out information until it's been cleared. But at the same time, we don't want to be passing around wrong information. That's number one. Number two, what is the plan once there is accurate information? If there is, God forbid, an actual incident, either a criminal incident or a weather-related incident, where are we supposed to meet in order to gather our children? Like, is there a meeting place, an official meeting place?
Mhm. Sure. So I'll attempt to tackle those questions. First and foremost, I really do appreciate the way that you pose the question, and the fact that our parents don't want to maybe add to the chaos, but they still want to be informed. Many people probably don't know this, but before I'm able to make a statement, which in most cases is a pre-recorded statement that goes out via school messenger, via the phone system, that actually has to go through several entities, being the press office and possibly the legal office. I think they work hand in hand. I have to get clearance from my high school office. My SSO or school support officer is also a part of that. Many times they will have a script already prepared. It's provided to me. And when I read it, at least the last couple of times I've said, I need to add something to this because it's not going to clarify things to my parents. I know that they're going to ask questions. And so I will add to it, send it back to the press office and legal. It has to be approved and given the final thumbs up before I'm ever able to record it and send out. So it's not anything that I can really work expeditiously because it has to go through various different departments or entities before it's relayed to parents. If we have something, let's just say we have a phone threat. What I learned just recently is that technically we're not supposed to use cell phones because if it is a mechanism that's tied to something electronically, we don't want to set it off unintentionally. We're really not supposed to answer phone calls, and we did have a couple of calls from parents, and eventually I kind of took over the call, and then the parent wants to keep me on the phone, and that kind of delays me from taking any further action. So let me just say this is probably not going to ease anybody's anxieties or whatever, but for parents who call the school, know that if we can't answer calls, that is the situation because, you know, again, we don't want to unintentionally make anything worse than what it is. Every classroom and office has a manual. It's called the Emergency Procedures Manual, and it has various different scenarios as well as instructions to follow given that particular situation. So if we were to have an incident where we have an intruder that actually makes it into the campus, we are to get on the loudspeaker, the public address system, call that person out, let everyone, including that intruder, know that we know his specific location before that person is able to get further into any classrooms. We do have protocols that all classroom doors are locked. If a student were to leave out to go to the restroom, it's locked once they leave the classroom. And unfortunately, they have to interrupt class in order for someone to let them back into the classroom. Most of our doors swing out, which kind of prevents an intruder from actually getting in. Unfortunately, we do have some rooms, I believe, in our upstairs science labs that swing in, and the teachers are practicing some protocols that they've learned themselves in order to help barricade those doors, so on and so forth, so that that door can be pushed in. And I'm sorry, the second question that you had, please remind me. Oh, well, I just remembered. So if we actually had to evacuate, what is the protocol for notifying parents regarding pickup? And hopefully this will never happen, but if we had to leave the campus, as of right now, it could be for some kind of chemical release where we actually had to leave the campus. Our first primary location evacuating Carnegie would be Gregory Lincoln, which is the property right next door. If we, depending on the airflow, if we actually had to evacuate that location as well, the second designated or secondary location would be Wharton Elementary, or Wharton K through 8, sorry, which is at the corner of Montrose and Westheimer. I'm sorry, West Gray and Montrose. So that would be the secondary location. Once we make it there, we would utilize the school messenger phone system in order to communicate to our parents and notify them of the pickup location. I did see some other questions as part of the Vanguardian posting. I do want to mention, most of you already know that we have one official main entrance, which is part of the circular drive off of Taft. We also have, well, as you know, in order to gain access, there's a buzzer. Someone will, at the main desk, will respond to what your need is. And we actually have cameras so we can quickly identify our students. And if they're not students, we inquire what the person's business is, and so on and so forth. Once a person is admitted into the building, they come to the front desk. They cannot access the hallways because there's a second set of doors before they actually would be able to gain entrance, and they have to be buzzed into those doors as well. All of our students are assigned an ID badge. It's got the pertinent identifying information on one side. It's got mandated information on the backside, including for safety purposes, if a student needs help for social emotional purposes, there's a mandatory message on the back of that. There also have color-coded lanyards. So if a student's lanyard is not a solid orange, yellow, green, or orange, yellow, green, I'm forgetting one, sorry. That helps to identify students based on their grade level. If they don't have one of those, then your student is out of dress code, out of compliance, and please have them come to the front desk so we can give them the appropriate color-coded lanyard. If there was a case where law enforcement outside of Carnegie, or if there's a fire and firemen had to access a particular portion of campus, all of our exterior doors have been numbered. There's a number on the exterior of the door as well as the interior of the door, so that we, internal to that door, can notify them. Or if it's at night, any law enforcement or fire department personnel can identify that number. It is self-reflective. I don't know if that's the correct term, but with a flashlight, they can easily identify that numbered door. We do have a schedule of drills, and very quickly, I want to notify you of those types of drills. Okay, so we have to have a secure, another word for a secure drill is a lockout. That's one per school year. We've already had that. We have to have 2 lockdowns per year. And actually, we have 3 scheduled this school year. All of these are unannounced. However, usually earlier on in that week, I will ask teachers to review the emergency procedures manual for that particular type of drill in advance. So it may not happen that day, or it may not, but at least we are informing students of what the protocols are, what the instructions for the teacher and the students are, and various other persons on campus. We are to have 1 evacuation per year, and that is if we actually have to evacuate the campus. And once again, the primary route would be Gregory Lincoln, the secondary would be Wharton K through 8. We have to have 2 shelters, 2 shelter-in-place drills a year. One would be a shelter-in-place for hazmat, like a chemical spill or a train derailment, and the other one is a shelter-in-place for weather. Usually the shelter-in-place for hazmat occurs in the fall, and March is the month for usually weather drills, tornado, hurricane, so on and so forth. We also have to have fire evacuation drills monthly. We have to alternate between obstructed and unobstructed. And again, that's 1 per month, alternating obstructed and unobstructed. For those cases, we actually evacuate to the athletic fields as far as away from the campus as possible. Teachers ask one of their students to actually hold a yardstick with the name of that teacher's class on it, so that students who may be misplaced for various reasons or whatever, they can actually find their teacher of record for that class period or advocacy. The teachers actually do take that emergency procedures manual with them. They include a roster so that they can account for all students that are a part of that class period or advocacy. Also, we have monitored access for bus riders who may not enter the building at our main entrance. We also have an orderly process for bus dismissal in the afternoon. We have signage on various doors. We have signage for after-school events. So for example, the official hours of the school are 7:30 a.m. until 4:30 p.m. Many times if we have a game or some type or PTO meeting, so on and so forth, we don't have personnel at the main office to buzz everyone into the main building. So what we'll do is place a sign outside of the front door asking for visitors to actually enter the athletic fields, walk through the sidewalk to the doors by the basketball area in order to enter into the gym, which is typically where we hold those meetings or games, so on and so forth. At the end of the math and social studies wings, that's upstairs and downstairs, we have a pull down gate, which would allow us to have those meetings in the gym or cafeteria and still secure the rest of the building, so that we don't have people all throughout the building unauthorized, so on and so forth. So those are our internal gates. We also have gates at the entrances to the garage, both ground level as well as upstairs. And that helps to secure our vehicles during the instructional day. Unfortunately, prior to having those gates, we did have some vandalism with car parts, the catalytic converters, so on and so forth. So rest assured now, those levels are secure. During the weekends, we do have the tennis courts at the top level of the garage. And of course, that's open to visitors to actually play tennis. And that's once, obviously on the weekend, we don't have cars parked at the second level of the garage. We are also, our athletic fields are also open after hours when there is not a school event. The building was designed to be an extension of Wiley Park, which is right next door across Genesee Street. So the architects wanted to be welcoming to the neighborhood. But when we do have a school event, a game, so on and so forth, the athletic fields do belong to Carnegie. When we don't have a school event or a game, it is open to the neighborhood. Employees have access cards not only to the garage, but also to the building during instructional hours, so on and so forth. Employees also have a placard that outlines the different procedures that we have for the drills that Officer Matt mentioned, as well as the 6 that I mentioned. So it's a reminder as well as instructions that they can put on their lanyard so that they have it easily available to them, including what they need to do. We also this year focused on an organized lunch duty schedule. So whether it is faculty, staff, administrator, what have you, we have every person is assigned 2 20-minute assignments, depending on certain locations in which they're common areas where we have the majority of our students during lunchtime. We are only as strong as our weakest link. And what I mean by that is, I mentioned earlier, the athletics field is open to the public when not in use by the school. But unfortunately, sometimes the doors by the basketball half court, after school, we have some students who want to play ball, but instead of taking all of their belongings out, they will prop open the door. And many times it's a member of our custodial staff who will find it. And I'm just telling them, we'll just confiscate it. But the most important thing is that we have those doors secured. So that's what I mean by we're only as strong as our weakest link. Also, with our building or our office hours being 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., sometimes we have many students in the building working with a sponsor for a club or activity. But once they are released, if they walk out of the main entrance of the building, even though we have 2 set of double doors, many times students will intentionally or unintentionally allow someone outside the building inside. The good thing is that we do actually have a second set of doors. So someone, they're not actually stuck because they can always exit. But many times they'll wait for someone else in the building to come out of that second set of doors so that they can actually enter. So I'm alerting parents, you know, we have, I think, a great system. Is it foolproof? No. So if you all can help your students to help us to be aware of those instances and stopping students from propping open doors, that would be instrumental. You know, if when we have students awaiting, let's say parents to pick them up, I know it's very difficult for a student inside the building to hear or see a stranger outside knocking on the door saying, little pig, let me in." Or little rhino, let me in. I know it's hard for them to see that and not actually let them in. But students are not authorized to admit strangers or even other students that they know into the building. So if you all can help your students to help us, that would be tremendous. And basically that's it. I do know that there are some questions that I saw on the Vanguardian website, and I will attempt to answer those as best that I can. One is, a term that I was not familiar with until I actually read it here is swatting, and I had to look it up. And it says swatting is a criminal harassment tactic of deceiving an emergency service into sending a police or emergency service response team to another person's address. And I don't know if this is tied to one of the other HISD schools recently or whatever, but it's a new term to me. I will ask Officer Mapp if he might be familiar with it, or if the person who asked the question is on the call wants to elaborate. I'd be glad to provide more information. Officer Mapp? And I don't know if he's still with us, but that's about the extent of my knowledge. And I only learned about this term about 30 minutes ago when I read it.
I think he's there and he's looking for the mute button to get unmuted.
Okay.
And there's also a few questions maybe for him or for the two of you before we move off this topic in this current chat, just so you know that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, while he's looking for that, I'm just gonna go through. So, and a lot of these are, I think, Officer Mapp related, because even though we have actually
Can you
always
hear me?
had an officer. Thank
Can you hear me?
Officer Mapp. Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, yeah, I remember hearing a lot of that about swatting, where they, they were sending an address to someone saying that, someone is either breaking into a house, or this person was a wanted person, where the officer goes over to that house and act on those calls. But then later, FBI and some of the other agencies had started catching on to that swatting. And so unfortunately, a lot of it haven't happened anymore. That some of the cases I have heard, I haven't heard any other that happened here. Now, if in that case it does happen, yes, it goes out to a larger agency, and they actually look into that before they try to act on it now, because it was some incident that did happen where someone actually got hurt going to the wrong address.
Okay. So some of the questions are kind of related to, and I think maybe because our last safety officer didn't have the presence that you've had. So I think this is a compliment to you, Officer Matt. Thank you again for being with us. So what hours are you on campus? Are you in a marked car? There's some other questions. I'll just start with that.
Well, I can answer on his behalf. So Officer Mapp is present, I know for certain, during our official office hours, 7:30 a.m. and many times before that. But not only until 4:30. Carnegie is paying Officer Mapp an additional couple of hours because we recognize we do have students involved in various clubs and organizations. So we pay him an additional 2 hours after 4:30 to actually be on campus. And it sounds like he may be back. Officer Mapp?
Yeah, and sometimes I'm there even after those 2 hours I get paid, because I do not like driving all the way to Katy with that traffic. So I kind of stay there sometimes at 9:30 until sometime when the custodians are leaving, and I know they still ask me, hey, can I go check things out? I don't have a problem doing that,
And Officer Mapp is not in a marked car, or at least it's not marked as a police car.
No.
Okay.
And my hours are from 8:15 to 4:15. Of course, like I said, I do get there early sometimes. And if I'm there early than 6 o'clock, I usually drive the block, just to check the areas out. That's just something I just do. Also, I don't think some of y'all know that some of our 12th graders, they do leave out to go eat. And so in the process of doing that, I have given my personal cell number out to the majority of the restaurant down the street. So I have gotten calls saying that, hey, some of your students are not tipping, but the behavior are very well, and I have left campus and and surprise some of the kids at the restaurant. And, of course, they say, hey, are we late, officer? No, I said, no, I'm just here stopping by checking on you. I prefer for them to go in a group and come back in a group. I feel that it's a lot more safer for that, for that way. But again, we did have a meeting about not allowing our student drive a car to leave off campus for lunch. And that's a big plus that I hate for them to do that. And also coming up in November, I believe I have December. I'll be putting on a class about whenever you get pulled over by officers. So I will be talking to your students about that as well.
That would be great if it could be recorded and posted for the students, for future students.
Yeah, there's a template that I have for that. So yeah, it's part of the House Bill 30 that came out a few years ago. That every officer should be presenting that House Bill, but I don't think a lot of them is doing it. But I enjoy making things safe for the kids that I'm here to protect. Of course, I have a 12th grader this year, so now there's 2 senior citizens in the house, not just me and my wife, my son too. So he made the 3rd one as a senior.
That's funny. And then the other question was, if you're out, like if you have a day off or some reason you're not on campus, is there someone who is a substitute, another officer?
Yes, and that officer would be the officer next door. That's Officer Yesenia Lejos at Gregory Lincoln. And she would, if anything would happen, they would have to call her and she would come over. And she have done it a few times, also during the time when I was out for the police conference in San Diego. I believe that was her that assists Mr. Moss in the bomb threat as well. And she is a 11-year veteran and very knowledgeable of her job. And I worked with her for more than 9 years. We worked together before in other schools.
That's good to know.
So,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I got to give credit to people who present and can check the chat at the same time. Because I just went to the chat and I noticed we have over 50 participants on the call tonight. So I'm impressed. And let me thank everybody. And Officer Mapp is mostly because of you. So
Well,
I think
thank you.
You're a hit tonight.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I do want to say I really appreciate, PTO putting this on so I can be able to, speak with y'all as well. Hopefully we'll be able to do this live one day. And of course, anytime you need my service, I'm always there. I have no problem, assisting my campus. If I have another job, I would cancel that job and take care of my campus first.
I know that there are a few more questions, but we've run over time. We try to keep our PTO meetings down to 7 to 8, business 7 to 7:30.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
then our presentation. Oh, I'm sorry, Officer Mapp. This is not directed to you.
Oh, okay.
You can talk as long as you want. I'm trying to be respectful of your time and Principal Moss. I know we would probably keep asking you questions for another 3 hours. However, the questions that are left in the chat, I'm going to get those collated and put them in an email, and we will try to post them in our post-meeting page. We usually put that on the website so that we can end the meeting, be respectful of everyone's time. Thank you so much. Just so everyone knows, Officer Mapp was going to be at our student social tomorrow evening. And so speaking of him giving of his time. So, I suspect we'll likely be at the new date whenever that happens. So just you'll get to see him in person whenever you hopefully attend the next social event with your student. So thank you so much for your time. And I hope that this answered some questions, probably raised some others, but I will say that last year, whenever there was an incident at another school, we all kind of looked at the protocols that we had at Carnegie, and we're very thankful at how Carnegie conducts itself. We had, I think, previously been a little annoyed at how hard it was to get into Carnegie sometimes to get our kid, and went, you know what? No, they're doing it right. We're going to be quiet and thankful. So, yeah, so very thankful at everything we do to keep our kids safe. So I'm going to be quiet.
I want to say this too, that our front office staff, they're great. They're great. You know, they're very alert if something happened. And they'll call me right away without a hesitation. You know, like I told them before, you know, if I'm in my office, I'm either doing some type of information that need to be presented out to my sergeant. But other than that, you know, if you can't reach me on my walkie-talkie, everyone has my personal cell number. They can always reach me. You know, that phone is on 24 hours.
And so, I can attest to that. You know, I think we have, I want to say a great team, but even beyond team, we have a great family. And so we're all invested in keeping all of us safe, including all of our students as well. And I think probably a bunch of us grew up watching Starsky and Hutch and Charlie's Angels. And so, and I appreciate Officer Matt for having his eyes, his ears open, and for bringing his new ideas to Carnegie. And with that, let me thank the parents for your questions too, because, you know, we can't think of everything, and I really appreciate any questions, concerns, and ideas that you all have as well. And I just have one other thing I wanted to mention outside of the safety presentation. So let me know whenever's a good chance. All I need is one more minute.
Just before we lose Officer Matt, please know that our intent is for administrators and teachers to attend the parent social if you want to. And please, I just don't know how that information gets disseminated, but we would love you to join us if you you know, are so inclined.
Sure.
We can certainly help promote that. I'll be there.
Principal Moss, you take it away.
Okay, great. So just real quickly, HISD has a department called FACE. The acronym stands for Family and Community Engagement. And I always say that along with GT students come GT parents. So Carnegie continues its work with parents as partners towards preparing our students for current and future successes. So we are working on certification of being a family-friendly school, actually moving from a platinum level to a diamond level. So one of the activities associated with FACE is called a fall walkthrough. It's going to take place next week. So either tomorrow or sometime over the weekend, I'm going to send a pre-recorded message through our phone system in regards to the date is Tuesday of next week. That's November 1st from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. It's in person at the school, and we'll talk about the school in general. So I want to offer this opportunity for everyone, and especially for those of you who are on the call now. And if you've never been to the campus, or if you want to visit the campus again, from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. on Tuesday, November 1st, we're going to give you a greater insight in regards to the school. We'll probably visit various different portions of the campus, including some classrooms. I do need 10 parents at the very least to join us. And so as part of my phone message, I think there's a way to actually put a survey if you want to RSVP. So please stay tuned for a phone message either tomorrow night or over the weekend. And I would love if we got some parents to actually attend from 9:30 to 10:30 next Tuesday. We could possibly move from being at the platinum level to the diamond level as part of the family and community engagement department. So please keep that in mind, in consideration. And that's it for me. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you for everyone who stuck it all the way through. This is important. So keep an eye out for the announcements for the second part of this, where we're going to meet with HPD and councilperson's office for a little in-person talk, and then alcohol. All right. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.